divert.
Let's get her did.
Let's. Dude,
Get get her did.
I just played a pub with CCNC, Sumail, SVG. I don't know who this is.
Against them or
Uh,
with them?
I was with CCNC and SVG,
Mm-hmm.
and I played against Schofield, Sumail, Whisper, Bloody Nine, just like a bunch of good. It was like the highest rated pub that I've played in a long time. It was really cool. It was super fun.
That does sound
Game,
fun.
Games like that are insanely satisfying to play. They're so much fun.
It reminds you why you play Dota, to be honest. When you get in one of those games where everybody's like gelling together, playing their roles correctly, communicating, it's good stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I was wish it was a 5 stack though. I wish it was like, intentional, but
Mm-hmm.
it was just by sheer luck. The game that I had previously was, you know, uh divines and ancients.
Yeah, dude,
So
it's been pretty weird out there. Even for me, I've been getting in ancient games like Divine 5, and then I'll have like an Ancient 2 core, like mid
yeah,
laner against a Divine 5 mid laner. I'm just like, please.
yeah, it's just, it's just weird. It's not like bad or well, I guess bad in the sense of like there's not great Dota being played, but it's like, it's still a video game. It's just so different. It's so different. It's like it's definitely less fun for a lot of people. I do know
Yeah.
some people do enjoy the more chaotic games. Like a lot of people, I've heard this argument on Reddit where people are like, "Oh, I kind of like my 1 to 2K games, just going in and picking whatever hero and just going for whatever items and having fun." It's like, "Oh yeah, that does sound cool to some degree." It doesn't always have to be like super competitive.
Right.
I mean, Dota's a competitive game, so largely I think people would prefer for it to be competitive, but it doesn't have to be. You know, sometimes you just want to have fun, dick around.
Yeah, when that's the case, I go play a different video game usually.
Yeah, Dota's not the greatest. Dota's not the greatest game for that. To be totally frank,
Yeah.
it's one of the few games that can actually be pretty frustrating if you're playing casually because you always want to win. And if you get snowballed on because you're just messing around, you just get owned, and it feels really bad to just get owned by somebody, and then the enemy team pauses on you, and
Yeah.
it makes it even worse.
Yeah, I
It's
don't know.
it's not a fun game to lose. I guess that's what I'm saying. It's not a fun game to lose.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
It's
I've
very
been
very hard to lose with grace.
I've been getting a lot of people, like I would say probably 4 out of my last 10 games I've had people quit and intentionally lose the game in the first 8 to 10 minutes.
See, this is why that I'm not super stoked about the current state of high immortal games. It's it's very much not promoting party queue anymore, which
Mm,
obviously, as chat knows and as you know, I'm a huge proponent of, and I know Donnie, you're a huge proponent of party queue games. I believe. I mean, I still feel the same. I know people on Reddit say, "Oh, high immortal players, stop bitching about queue times." It's not the queue times that bother me. It's that I can't play party queue anymore, and
yeah.
I was having a lot more fun playing with friends than I have playing alone because it's a team game. So playing with other people is inherently very frustrating, and I believe that it's just not. This is not how the game is supposed to be played. It's like
Yeah, I completely
imagine,
agree.
imagine playing some like free for all in football. It would just be fucking chaos. Like your own quarterback just starts like running towards like your end zone. It's like, buddy.
Or he just like starts kneeling the ball down because he's like upset that his guard let him get sacked like one time. He's just like, nope, I'm done. Just kneels the ball over and over, loses the game on purpose, and he has full control over it because he's the
Yeah.
quarterback. It's like, okay.
Yeah. I definitely would not continue playing that game with that guy. But of
Mm-mm.
course, when you're in a Dota 2 game, you don't want to get abandoned because we all know how the perpetual cycle of low behavior score works. So
Yeah, it's not good.
you don't want to be caught in that rabbit hole. to be sure. Would you like to start? Would you like to start with the questions? Just jump right into it.
Yeah, I think we can get after it. So,
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
welcome everybody to Alchemy Answers episode 50. And it's a bit of a milestone for us. 50 episodes. That's almost a full year of podcasting. And if you're not aware, you can get this on just audio format, but you're obviously here now listening to it, so you probably don't need that. But you can listen to all the episodes on in podcast format as well, just by going to Dota Alchemy on Anchor FM or Spotify or iTunes or wherever else you listen to podcasts, I believe.
I love hearing when people say that they listen to our podcast on the way to work. It just gives me this. It's like this mental adventure that I get to go on, just thinking like what that person's doing, and they're dealing with this like traffic, and I don't know. It's cool to imagine just somebody else's life. I think there's like a word specifically for it. Not the exact phenomenon that I'm talking about.
Voyeurism.
No, it's not voyeurism. I'm not a peeping Tom. Sonder. I think is it Sonder or Somber?
Is it called cuckolding?
I think it's Sonder.
Are you a cuckold?
That's absolutely not what I'm referring to here.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought it was just a synonym for what you're thinking about.
Somber? I don't know. I can't find it on Google quickly, so I'm done with this. But just realizing that everybody's got like a full on life with all their problems and aspirations, and you don't consider it on a daily basis because that would be too much information to process, just walking around and seeing everybody and being like, oh, I wonder where that person goes to school, or if they're going to go into nursing. It's like there's too much shit already to think about, Sure. But it's cool to get that. And I get that when people are like, oh, we listen to you on the way to work. And it's like, man, I wonder what that person's doing. And it's cool that they're listening to our voices while going to like do some job.
Yeah, man. Brian Essig says, are you ever all going to play together? Or is it bad when you mix work and boyfriends?
Yeah, we'll play together.
Yeah. Once I hit Immortal, maybe Jenkins will consider me a real person and actually invite me to a party every now and then.
Jordan says Sonder is the real word. You see, the problem, getting back to Dota, is the matchmaking. Is that if I queue with you, you're considered to be 7.5k MMR.
Yep.
And I don't know what your MMR is, but I feel like we're going to get some really hard games. Whereas before, we get like a mixed game, it would be kind of hard for both of us. And the enemy team wouldn't have this shit. I mean,
it'll either be a really hard game, or you'll just only lose 15 MMR and the other team will be risking 45 or something like that.
Something along those lines. Yeah, it's really strange. Like, for instance, I just played this game. I was saying at the start of the stream, I played this game against Sumail and Schofield, and Sumail's like ranked 17 and Schofield's ranked 5. So they were two parties. So these two parties, their average MMR is like 8k or something, but only because of the Apex players in the party. And on my team, I had CCNC, who is ranked 2, right? But that's kind of canceled out by the rank 5. And then the highest rated player in my party is ranked 55. So even though the average is completely even, just because of the people that are queuing, we got like 35 MMR for winning,
right?
Which just wasn't fair. I mean, it was an even game, MMR wise.
Right.
The skill gap between Divine and Immortal is that big. The problem is the badges just stop at Immortal, but to be like Immortal top 100, it's like 7,500 MMR.
Yeah, the skill gap between like Divine 5 and Immortal rank like 2,000 is pretty much nothing, but the difference between Divine 5 and Immortal rank 100 is like several thousand MMR.
Yeah, so there's like a few brackets in Immortal. There's like the just Immortal people, which is like basically equivalent to Divine. There's like the Immortal rank 1000s, which they're a lot better than the previous bracket. Of course, naturally with brackets, that's how it's going to work. Then you've like the rank 500s, and then like the rank 200s, and then the top 100s, and then you have like the top 10s, which are like the CCNCs and Sumails, where they're significantly better than a lot of people. And the MMR between those brackets too is 500 to 1,000. So it's not just like the numbers make it in the badge makes it look kind of strange, even though there's like a huge difference.
Right.
Yeah, it's super weird because like for instance, I could be like top 100. I could win like 2 games. I'll be top 100, and Sumail is ranked like 17, but I'm going to be 7.5k and he's like 8.5k, right? Even though our numbers are really close, his MMR is way higher than mine because it scales like.
Right, to go from like even rank 20 to rank 1 is like 500 MMR probably or more.
Something like that. Yes,
yeah.
it scales very quickly at the end of the distribution. I don't want to say exponentially because that's just an incorrect use of the word, but it scales just quite fast at the end of the distribution. Not exactly exponential, but the linear multiplier is quite high. Okay, all right. Let's get into the questions.
Sounds good.
So, Meme Frog reposting because you skipped unless you answered them after the questions from chat. I don't think we did. Boy, this is a long one. Okay, Q1. I'm finding it hard to move from phase 1 to phase 2 on Sand King.
I'm pretty sure we did answer this like 2 episodes ago, but we can answer it again. It's fine.
I typically have to wait until level 4 1-2-1 build to nuke the wave out fast enough that I kill it in time to walk around the trees and grab the next wave. And even when I do grab the next wave, I've often used Sandstorm to kill the previous wave, and I'm vulnerable during the pull. Yada yada. What am I missing here? Should my support come with me when I try to cut the wave? Yeah, you can get your support to help you cut the wave. You can have you can avoid cutting the wave until level 5. Depends on the matchup. Sometimes it's just hard to get behind the wave, behind the tower, honestly, and you have to be careful. But I would say most of the time, you don't push the wave in with Sandstorm. You push the wave in with Caustic Finale,
right? Yeah.
and then you're like burrowing maybe and like harassing the guy that you're playing against. And you want to do that when you have a larger wave than they have, and you can obviously force that very easily by using Caustic. And then on top of that, if you press Sandstorm at the end of a wave, then another wave will come and you'll kill it with Sandstorm, and then you can walk through, and it'll be enough time between the next wave coming that you can use Sandstorm on the next wave. Also, if you pull to the easy camp, it just aggroes, so you don't need to use Sandstorm because you're not going to take any damage. So there's many different ways. I would just say look at replays of people doing it and practice the transition, because you're right in noticing that the transition is hard. That is a fucking hard transition to master. That is hard on any hero that cuts the wave. So how do I actually get into cutting position without losing an entire wave of experience? This is something that pro players are still trying to figure out the best way to do. So you're not wrong in saying that it's hard. Okay, question 2. When should I move to phase 3? Often my towers are under pressure and I want to TP to them, but then once I've relieved that pressure, I'm kind of stuck. My mid gets very upset with me sitting in their lane and farming it, but if I leave, I don't have a TP. Okay. Yes, you can farm the medium camp. You can farm jungle near the towers. That's perfectly fine. You can also go back to the offlane, specifically when your TP is back up. You can walk there. That's what I would say. Should you not be TPing to save those towers so eagerly? I mean, if there's no heroes in the lane and there's no chance that they're really going to get pressured, then yeah, you're probably TPing too eagerly. But if it looks like the entire enemy team is grouping up at the tower, you want to be there. I'm sorry, Donnie. These are very specific questions.
I'm just letting you know. I mean, for specifically offlane Sand King. So take it away, then.
So explaining to chat what the phases are, because this is a very specific thing from a video, is phase 1 on Sand King is where the heroes complete dog shit in the lane. You're trying to get level 3 as soon as possible. Once you're level 3, there's phase 2 where you can start cutting the creep wave. Then at a certain point, there hits phase 3 on Sand King, where the enemy team is looking to pressure either your safe lane or your mid tower, and you want to be the hero that's stopping that from happening. Phase 4 on Sand King is when you're running around with your team looking for fights and trying to get towers with a Veil of Discord and a Blink Dagger. Those are the phases of Sand King, and if you do those phases in every single game in that order, you will win games. It is just very hard to deal with. So question 3, phase 3 to phase 4. When I have my blink, should I continue defending towers? No, not really. Like maybe for a second, but you want to look to be aggressive. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, Meme Frog, you're cut off from questions for the rest of the month.
Like
he's getting value. He's getting value.
He did post out somebody else's questions that we missed. So So we have I love phase 46 on Crystal Maiden. Listen, man, I was trying to simplify things by talking about these phases. Everybody's like, how do you play the mid game? That's how you play the mid game. You break the game down like that.
It's good. It's good. It's a good way to
Uh,
look at it.
Chai26 says, in early laning, when do you decide to go on the enemy? I sometimes have this, so this is not directed directly at me, Donnie. I sometimes have this false sense of being ahead in the lane that I will go hard or even just harass the enemy and will end up being heavily punished. On the other side of the spectrum, I sometimes play really safe and I miss out on key opportunities to get ahead. Do you focus on the micro things, enemy's current health, mana, regen, armor, potential magic damage, disables, yada yada, before engaging in skirmishes? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to focus on the micro things, but I kind of feel like if you're having to focus on the micro things to know whether you can kill somebody or not, it's not going to go well because these decisions, like from my experience, you need to make a decision. We can kill them now, and then you do it. And if you don't seize that opportunity, then you're going to not have that opportunity. Or if you wait for too long, then, you know, their support's going to come back into lane, or maybe they're going to salve, or the tango's going to take them up too high in their HP so that you actually can't kill them anymore. There's so many moments in Dota that's like, you can capture it right now or don't do it at all. And that's fine. Like, you can opt to not take those opportunities sometimes, but in my opinion, you should always look to play as aggressively as possible until you realize that you're playing too aggressively, and then you can make the correction back to being more safe.
That's my approach. That's the approach I take.
Yeah, if you never try to play aggressive, then you're never going to know what your actual limits are. Like Sumail or CCNC or no one, they didn't learn how to like live on the sliverest sliver of health as Ember Spirit and get like an ultra kill in a fight by running away as soon as they got remotely low. They stuck around, they abused tread switching and using their wand, even dropping items sometimes in the middle of a fight, just to try and like eke out the tiniest little advantage that they could get to stay alive and get the most out of it. And if you're doing that, you're gonna die a lot. Like, that's just how it is. Especially if you're playing like a new hero or you're not really sure what your limits are on a hero, you're going to die a lot. You're gonna feed, you're gonna fuck up, and so you just need to accept that and accept that you probably will get flamed by your team. So, you know, if you're going into a game with the intention of, I'm going to play as aggressively as possible this game, maybe you want to mute your teammates or play with friends and just tell them, this is what I'm going to try and do. Or like, you know, it should just be part of your mentality of how you're approaching the game.
I think I can simplify things for you a little bit, Chai. I would say that generally when you want to engage in skirmishes in the laning phase, it's when you have a creep advantage. And whenever you want to play safe, it's when they have a creep advantage. That's basically it. Because you know, even if you're not going for a kill, like going for a kill and going to take regen from your opponents, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing. You're just trying to like waste their resources and waste their time, which is a resource. So waste their resources. And if you have more creeps than they do, which will happen like 50% of the time in a lane, then you go on them, because if they go on you, it's going to be a bad trade for them. And if it's the opposite, then you try to not let them go on you, and you try to pull creep aggro and things like that until you do get a creep advantage, and then you can go on them. That's a really easy way. A lot of the time when people die trying to go on somebody in a lane, and then they're like, "Oh, I calculated. I thought that was going to be good for me." A lot of the time, it's because you just went on the enemy team when there's like 2 range creeps and you got your ass beat. And,
yeah, you're just tanking like 4 creeps the entire time. So
yeah,
it's actually like another full hero hitting you, and you don't even realize
it's usually honestly just as simple as that. And a lot of the time, you know, you can go on the enemy team if you have a creep advantage, if you don't have a creep advantage, but if you have a level advantage, and that's going to be really obvious. And if you're just constantly abusing the lane where you're only going on them when you have a creep advantage, then you will get a level advantage, and then you can start being more and more aggressive. So like the more ahead you get, then the easier it is to make the decisions. And the way you get ahead is by abusing, having more creeps.
Yep.
And follow-up question, is getting early boots of travel a good idea for Pango? I feel travels, and then it blanks out. But yeah, I mean, early bots on Pango's not that bad, especially if the enemy team has some sort of split pushing, or you have wave clear problems and you really want to play like the dead lane or something. It's not that bad. I mean, I personally think you probably don't need to get them. Like, you can probably just do that without travels. Just hold a TP and walk to the lane that you want to push out. I think getting travels is like a tad bit lazy and like a crutch.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like in a game where the enemy team is still pushing you really hard, then somebody needs travels, and Pango's a great travels hero.
Yeah, I think travels is probably one of the easiest items to abuse in pubs. But at the same time, it definitely can be a crutch. And if you do buy travels, you need to take full advantage of it and just literally be in 2 places at once.
By the way, we forgot to mention this at the start. We're trying to make this a tea thing. So if you have any tea, make sure to drink some tea with us. We wanna drink tea with everybody, and we should have steeped together. We need to do it where we'll all start steeping our tea at the same time and like sync it up, and then we'll take the tea bags out at the same time. We really need to do that. How's your tea treating you, Donnie?
It's good. It's actually the second time I've used this tea bag, and so it's a little bit weaker than normal, but it's good. It's like a nice mild tea.
It's nice when tea bags let you do that. I mean, I would do that at work whenever you pay $1 for a tea bag at like the local cafe, which is bullshit in the first place. And it's like, you know what, motherfucker, I'm just gonna ask for hot water next time, and I'm not paying you for a second tea. Because $1? Are you joking?
Yeah.
Come on.
Are you joshing me?
It's a big josh. You're gonna josh yourself up a fence, and when you josh yourself too hard, you can lose it all, man. Just so quickly. Everything can go to shambles.
That's a very Canadian saying. All right, what's the next question?
Okay. Elliot says, I'm planning on doing support calibration soon. While I'm firmly convinced that you can win games from either support, thanks Elevated, I want to focus on the position that can help progress my offlane game too. What support position do you think would help
4
the most with this? Ah, geez. Yeah, I would say probably position 4, because as a position 5, you're not really focusing on fucking over the offlaner. You're more so focusing on how to give your safe laner a good game. So it's more safe lane oriented. And as a position 4, you're focusing on how to pressure and give your offlaner a good game so that they can pressure. But I would say also like carry would help you, because you'll get pressured by an offlaner and you'll know what's annoying.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like carry and 4 is what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, also 4 just happens to be in the offlane, and a lot of times if the offlaner is having a bad game where you get a bunch of snowball kills as a 4, you kind of just become the offlaner anyway.
Those roles are really interchangeable these days, to be honest.
I'd say the only position 5s that you should play if you kind of want to play in that style are like stuff like, Wyvern maybe, or like, like the big team fighters who also just shove lanes and keep towers alive, because a lot of offlaners also tend to do that. So you can kind of develop that style, but generally speaking, just play 4 since you're in the offlane anyway.
Yeah, I think that makes. I mean, that's what I do whenever I can't get offlane. Well, that's what I did before they changed matchmaking, where you can actually pick your role. But that is what I did. I wouldn't fight with people. I would just be like, all right, I'm just gonna play position 4. Average Peen says, Jenkins, if you and your girlfriend break up, can I marry you? That depends on a few things. Are you sexy? Actually, that only depends on one thing. So yeah, just let me know in the comments.
Very shallow guy I've got here as my Dota Alchemy partner. I thought you at least cared about his MMR and like his hero pool and that kind of stuff too.
Your versatility needs to be under 1.0 on Dota.
Okay.
And the only position that I'm gonna allow you to play
is missionary.
Is 69. All right. Chai. Once again, except these are not forgotten questions. Hey, thank you for answering my question from the last Q&A episode. Oh, wait a minute. What day is today? October 14th. Did we answer the same question? The same forgotten? Whatever. All right. Hey, thank you for answering my question from the Q&A episode. Jenkins, since you asked, my name is pronounced like cheese. Oh, it's this dude. Oh, God. I think we did answer that question.
Yeah,
for fuck's sake.
I'm pretty sure we did.
Now, my next question, how do I climb back up from losing 1,000 MMR? I can say that I have not adjusted well to the meta. To be honest, I want to blame my huge drop on 3 different things. The recent calibration, the new matchmaking, and lastly, the OG playstyle, which means brainless fights until we lose in my bracket. It's a TI winning team, buddy. Twice. The last time I was in this MMR, I spam Beastmaster and Enigma offlane back when you could still dominate wagons for some solid pressure. Now I can't really do this since these heroes were nerfed. Both of those heroes are still very good, by the way.
Yeah.
Like Beastmaster, I had Beastmaster in.
He's extremely underrated.
I don't even think he's underrated. The only problem with Beastmaster is that Legion, Abaddon, and Omni are all broken heroes, and Beastmaster has Roar. So that's the only problem. So I have him in B tier. I think he's actually one of the best offlaners. And if you're looking for like a split pushing, tower taking offlaner, he's fantastic. I mean, if you want to, I mean, Abaddon's really good at that too. If you want a hero that does that with that passive, it's really bullshit. And what I would recommend is I think probably you're not protecting siege creeps well enough. So the Dominator era with dominating siege creeps and shit like that, it was honestly just people being lazy, and nobody realized that until we got to the point where you could no longer dominate siege creeps. And now people are just really good at protecting them by fording creep waves, by sending out a salve and tanking the tower with a salve so that way you can keep the siege creep alive for the next wave. You don't need to dominate siege creeps if you're doing the right tactics. So I would highly recommend. God, there's this replay I want to show from my Smurf. I might make a video about it, something like that, where I was offlane Wyvern and I skilled my Cold Embrace to protect a siege creep that had 1 hit left, and I took a tower from full HP, 100 to 0, by using Cold Embrace and tanking with a salve alone, totally alone, as a Winter Wyvern that's level 6. And yeah, I mean, that's a tower that otherwise would have died like 10 minutes later, and it makes the game significantly easier. So you just need to abuse whatever you can to keep those little guys alive. Getting Basiliuses as well are fantastic. Getting an early Bassi for the lane. Okay. Thoughts on Nick's level 25 talents? I don't think you should ever go the Agi. I don't.
When are you ever going to get level 25 as a Nyx? But
when
yeah.
You have 3 minuses.
But yeah, I think you always go unobstructed pathing because that mechanic is inherently just completely broken in Dota.
It's filthy. It's really filthy, especially with the movement speed that you have with it, the gank potential that you have.
You just walk into their base and put wards behind their barracks, and they're like, "How did you know I was here?" And then you're just like, "I'm a Nyx."
Yep, it's pretty bullshit. I mean, that hero's not like a carry, so I don't know. The agility, cool armor, but really you should be unkillable already via items and Aghanim Scepter.
Yeah, the Agi's a joke. It's like a meme to pair with Blade or Ethereal Blade. And
I'd be very mad if my Nyx picked up an Blade and did not have obstructed pathing. It's like, dude, why do you think you're a damage dealer in this game? You're a Nyx assassin. We have a fucking anti-mage or something. Like, you're always going to have a hero that's doing damage. You don't need a Nyx to be like,
agree.
I got you. Like, God, no. Ganksy, as it says, as a core, what do you do? What do you do to best win your lane when your support doesn't know what to do? E.g., they're accidentally making the lane incredibly hard because they pull aggro to harass. They sit behind me in lane and don't harass or trade the enemy. They don't pull in lane, or later in the game, they don't focus on getting vision and instead farm the jungle or slowly push out a lane. Support yourself. Yeah. That's what I would say. I do that in almost every game.
Yeah, but you got to buy a ward, place it so you can farm safely. Like,
literally... I mean, I buy wards in competitive games. Like, I buy my own wards in competitive games because I know where I want the ward to be, and my supports sometimes don't have gold, and they're not going to be in my lane, so I can't expect my Crystal Maiden to be in 3 different lanes. I actually think there's an unrealistic expectation that people put on supports and kind of use it. Not that I'm saying that you're doing it, Ganksy. I just know that a lot of people do that and use like their support as a crutch for them fucking up and being lazy. Like, mids die and then they're like, we need wards. And it's like, you should have sent out a ward for yourself, buddy. Like, watch Sumail play. He'll send out wards for himself, or he'll ask for wards.
Yep.
And then send it out. But he's the one that's initiating it because he knows his hero. He knows his matchup. He knows he needs a ward there. I now always send myself a ward at 5 minutes on the offlane because I'm so sick of dying to like the mid just rotating to my lane because I don't have vision and it's nighttime.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of that. I just send a ward. I just take it from whatever support wants it. I just take it because I don't want to die.
Yeah, I mean, nighttime, that first night is always such a dangerous point in the game, and it's very rare that your support is going to be able to immediately leave the bottom lane and go on a warding mission to both of the other two lanes. So, maybe they'll get some vision mid, maybe they'll get some vision top, but at the very least, if you know that you're going to get ganked during nighttime because there's a Night Stalker, there's like a Spirit Breaker or something like that, put a ward so you have an easy game. And think about it this way. You spend 50 gold and you suddenly don't die, you've already paid for it one time. If it saves you twice, you've more than paid for your ward. Like, it's so simple. People are like, it's delaying my Hand of Midas by one creep, which you probably get immediately because you can play aggressively.
Hand of Midas is a trash tier item. My God. This all reminds me, for whatever reason, I need to make a video on Holy Locket for Trash Can Magic. I don't remember why this reminds me, but for some reason in that whole conversation, I was just thinking like, man, Holy Locket's a shitty item. I guess when you said it delays your item, I was thinking like, man, imagine if somebody is saving for a Holy Locket. They'd have to be a complete moron. It's like, oh yeah, Trash Can Magic wants a video of Holy Locket. I got to find actual applications for it though, because I don't want it to be a meme video. I want to figure that item out. Anyway, okay. Average Peen says, once again, question. I remember many episodes ago, you'd talk about how you'd pull yourself out of a 15-game loss streak. All right, Donnie, we're about to get into the binge queuing conversation, so we need to make sure to keep this short because I know we could both go on for hours about this.
Yeah.
Now I'm in a similar situation. Ever since recalibration, I've lost like 800 MMR, and it's very depressing for me. 3.2k to 2.3k. I've taken breaks from Dota, but it doesn't help. Can you talk about the mental aspect of Dota? You're good at going on a tangent about that, Jenkins. Oh, shit. He knows. I'll let you begin, Donnie, because I know you had an experience with this recently.
Yeah. So I guess there's a couple things. I mean, yes, recently, as in literally ending perhaps today, I've had a very minor binge queue because I think once you've done it enough, you kind of understand, like, this is probably the worst binge queuing I've done, and it was a total of like 7 games, right? This used to be like 15, 20. Both you and I have had literally a full page and then another full page of red with like maybe 1 or 2 green wins in there. Both you and I have done that. And if you look at the play times, it's like 9 a.m. Saturday, and then all the way until like Monday, 9 p.m. Just like every hour with like maybe a 4-hour break for a nap or something like that. So
all day, every day.
We've all been there. But I have to say that when you've dropped like 800 MMR, it's really important for you to like watch your most recent replay. Just watch it and watch it from your perspective and just realize how many mistakes you're making, because if you're losing games that are 800 MMR lower than you previously were, it means that you are playing incredibly terrible. And it is entirely your fault that you're losing every single one of these games, because you were literally like a different player not very long ago when you were 800 MMR higher. 800 MMR is a lot. That's a big difference. And so if you're still losing games 800 MMR below where you are, it means that you are, number one, not adapting to the bracket. So if you're playing like a support role or something like that, and you're playing extremely sacrificial and trying to depend on your carries who were carrying you 800 MMR ago, they are no longer doing that. If you're playing carry and like you used to be able to rely on some wards here and there, or like a smoke gank or like space being made for you, it's not happening anymore. And you have to just kind of re-embrace the chaos of the 800 MMR lower game that you're in. I remember when I was doing this experiment of trying to just climb from 1K to whatever on position 5 only on a Smurf, just for fun. I got this 1K MMR account, and then I immediately lost 3 games in a row. And I was like, how the fuck am I losing games 4,000 MMR lower than I normally play? And the answer is because I was trying to support my teammates as if they were the previous MMR that I normally played at. And then I realized that, and I was like, oh, well, if I just, because there is space available and it's not being taken, I can just take this space. And I ended up essentially being a core every game as a support, but it's not like I was stealing farm from my cores.
They
It's
were
not like
taking the farm.
it was just there, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna push the lanes, and so I literally just won like 25 games in a row after that, and I was like, okay, I get it. You know, it's not hard. There's probably like 2 things that you're doing wrong every single game, and you can identify them within the first 5 minutes, and that's why you're losing these games.
So I would also say, taking the break that you mentioned is obviously a core uh, component to turning it around. You need to take a break,
Mm-hmm.
and I know it's really hard. You need to not only take a break, but you need to come back and have an actual mental reset where you are approaching the game from an objective standpoint. Because chances are, if you're a good enough Dota player to be 1,000 MMR above where you're currently at, you're good enough to figure out how to win in the lower rated bracket. I mean, you've probably done
You've
it
already done
before.
it, yeah.
So, so you need to just recalibrate your brain and essentially, go in without, because chances are you're very tilted or you're very tired. You don't realize how bad you're playing when you're tired. And that's why Donnie said, like, if you watch one of your replays, you'll see the mistakes that you're making. Because at a certain point after losing, usually you have 2 feeders in a row. You get mad. You freak out on somebody the next game. They feed another feeder. Behavior score goes down a little bit, and it's just a spiral. But then at a certain point, you are actually losing the games for yourself. Sometimes it starts with these very legitimate streaks of losses that shouldn't happen normally, but it happens. And then at a certain point, you just need to cut yourself off because you're going to become the problem eventually. So my biggest piece of advice on this, because what Donnie said is what we've talked about this a lot. I completely agree with what he said. But my biggest piece of advice, other than what Donnie said, is on this, is to stop yourself while you are ahead, because you think 5 losses in a row is a lot until you lose 10 in a row. You think 1,000 MMR is a lot until you lose 2,000 MMR. It is very good to stop yourself from losing the future 1,000 MMR and to focus on that first and view your current MMR as like, oh, thank God I didn't lose 1,000 more. And I find that when I go into the next day, when I go into the next cycle of queuing with the mentality that, like, wow, I was such an idiot. I'm glad I stopped myself from binge queuing. Time to climb back and have fun with it. And like Donnie said, embrace the chaos of this bracket. When I'm looking at it from like a kind of adventurous perspective, I am a lot less tilted going into the games. The problem is when you're going to the games thinking, I deserve to be at 1K higher.
Yep.
I need to win these games quickly in order to get there. That's the problem. You're not going to win these games quickly. It's going to be a long process, and that's your punishment. That's your punishment for binge queuing.
Yeah,
that's what you get.
I mean, if you think about it, if you put Arteezy in a 3K game, the game is still going to take him about 35 minutes or more to win. Unless it's him plus a bunch of other high and more players, then the game might be over in 15 minutes. But if it's just him, the game's going to take probably 30 minutes. Because that's just how it is. His team's going to feed. People are going to lose. There might be a Smurf on the other team that he has to overcome. Like, all this is going to happen. So I think that's actually the most important point, is that if you approach the game as simply a means to an end to get to the MMR that you're supposed to be at, instead of being like, I'm going to play a game of Dota.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
That's a huge
and
problem.
That's literally what I was doing the last couple of days. I was like, okay, I'm 4 games away from Immortal. I'm just going to bang these out right now. And now I'm like 15 games away from Immortal, because that's just how it goes.
No bueno. That's not how you win Dota.
Yep.
All right. Moving on. Could go on, but I won't. Okay, Prime Operator says, when is it better to block the enemy's first creep wave in their safe lane as opposed to blocking your own creep wave in your off lane? So if the enemy team is smart and in position, they're just going to block your wave and then it's going to do nothing. So I would say if they're zoned out of the tower and you can continue zoning them, and if you are hugely advantaged in the lane, if you know that the lane is very strong. But a lot of the time, honestly, these days, I never do it. I don't think it's that good. I think it was something people were experimenting with, and it was kind of cool, but you can just body block your own wave and pressure them, and then push it in side pull, and it does the same thing. It does almost the same thing. In fact, like it kind of sucks to body block their wave and give them free levels when they should be getting pressured. You know, it can actually bite you in the ass. It can be kind of dangerous. If the enemy team gets level 2 in a duel lane before you do, they can kill you and then you lose. So I would say
I think
probably
it's
scratch it. I don't think it's that great of a.
I think it's probably okay if you're like a solo Earthshaker or a solo clock who can actually just do it.
Then
Do it
it's
for
then
free.
it's fine. Then it's fine, of course.
Yeah.
If you're solo, yeah, I mean, if you're solo for sure, you
Right.
do whatever you can to just get free lanes of creeps.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, I don't really do it anymore. I think it's kind of bad.
Yeah, it's just more of like it's more of the solo offlaner move at this point, I would say.
Do it against a lane that can't deal with the lane being pushed early. Oh, that's not a question. Enigma's Flame says. I never do it anymore, really.
Yeah.
Injective. Recently, I've been trying to stack and pull. My carry frequently gets out of position and pings me for help. Your carry's an idiot.
Yeah.
And I have to abandon the stack pull to go help out.
Nope.
Otherwise, I'll get flamed. Yeah, don't do that.
Nope.
Let your carry die. That's really dumb. Like the pulling the lane back is so much more valuable than kills and deaths that just ignore them. Like tell them, no, I'm pulling. No, I'm pulling.
Tell them that you are pulling. You know, just tell them, hey, I'm pulling now. So at least they know. And then if they go ahead and play very far up without any creeps to back them up and they feed, then that's entirely their fault. There's nothing you can do about it.
That's them being a bad carry. You can watch any streamer play carry and you'll immediately see that like pulling is an integral part of the lane, and they play safe when their support's pulling. It happens in every single game. They're just playing the game wrong.
Every game, every lane has an ebb and flow, and you don't have to be in the middle of the creep wave at all times. There's some times where you need to play back because otherwise you die.
Yep. Hiruma says, Hiruma47 says, hi guys, I'm a Lion main, and I want to try other supports. What can you recommend?
You're a Lion main. That's a good one, man. Got a nice main. A nice lion main.
Shadow Shaman, I would say. That's a pretty good hero. Does very similar stuff. Has disables. Way better at pushing. I would say Lion is actually a shittier version of Shadow Shaman.
I don't think that Lion and Shaman are similar at all. I think that they have this interesting. People are like, oh, they both have a hex, and they both have 2 disables, so they're the same hero. But I think that Lion is much more of it's like a pressure aggressive, annoying hero, kind of akin to something like
he's shittier.
I mean, I wouldn't say so. I think he functions as a completely different style of hero. He's like,
I think he's just worse.
I mean, I understand. You've made that very clear 4 times now, sir.
Okay.
Now let me explain how Lion should be played, in my opinion.
Sure. All right.
Which is that Lion is kind of like that hero. He's kind of like an axe hero that you want to like play him completely off the map and scare people because he like shows up, he hexes you, you die to a finger, and then
I'm not afraid of a fucking Lion.
Oh well, that's because most people play Lion like a Shadow Shaman, and he's just a much worse Shadow Shaman. There's no question about that.
Being off the map and hexing people, but then also pushing, you mean? Okay, what other heroes? Let's see. Lion is really easy. He like stuns people. He has a nuke. Mana Drain's kind of a useless ass ability, so we'll just ignore that.
Yeah.
I guess CM is kind of similar. You're like a stunning nuking guy with some like damage dealing ultimate in a mana ability.
How about 4 Lina?
Yeah, 4 Lina is pretty similar. She's got wave clear. Honestly, fuck Lion for not having wave clear.
Yeah.
You probably want supports that have wave clear. It's really annoying to have a support that can't push out waves because then it's like, oh, everybody's fighting top, but the bot lane needs to be pushed. I literally can't do it because I'm Lion. I'm gonna go finger a range creep.
Yeah, you literally have to stun, right click each creep, and then stun again to clear a wave. It's super inefficient. So I agree.
Feels very bad. Yeah, I would give a Shaman. What was the other one we said? Bane's kind of similar. Bane is better than Lion for sure.
Bane has no wave clear though.
Yeah, he has no wave clear. But if you're looking for a useless, no wave clear, instant disabling support, Bane is probably the best one right now. But yeah, no wave clear whatsoever, which is a problem for sure.
Definitely.
That's enough heroes. That's enough heroes.
Well, I already made a support tier list, so just play those heroes.
Who'd you put on tier 1? Undying?
No.
Okay.
I put, let me look
You're
at
wrong.
I have Wyvern, CM, Coddle, Vengeful Spirit, Shadow Shaman, and Ancient Apparition.
You didn't put Undying? Yo, update that. Update that shit.
No.
Undying is like the lane support of the major qualifiers.
I mean, he's definitely really good. He's in my lane bully category. I wouldn't pick him first every game, though.
I would definitely pick him first every game.
Not against a Mirana.
I mean, Chen should be in the list, too, if we're talking competitive. But for pubs, Chen is ass.
Complete shit for pubs.
All right, moving on. Let's see. Sparky23 says, how do you deal with game frustration? I love the game a lot, but a couple of weeks ago, I got demotivated after a 5-5 calibration that still demoted you from Legend 5 to Archon 7, followed by a 4-game losing streak that led to me taking 3 weeks off the game. Tried playing again last night, won a good game, but the motivation to play isn't there. How do you balance out wanting to rank up and get better and just tilting after a bad streak? I pick fun stuff. Sometimes I just pick to have fun. I want to play Pudge, I play Pudge, you know, or play another role. What are you doing? What are you doing, Donnie?
Just answering a question in chat.
Chen is definitely way different from in I would not pick Chen in low rated games.
Exactly. That's the point, you know. This guy's asking from an average player perspective. You can pick Chen and fucking immortal pubs. Go for it, man. But most people are not immortal, so they would not understand how to play around the hero. And
that shit does not work in 3K pubs.
You try to explain why your carry should actually go to the off lane and then get teleported to the safe lane in a 3K pub. Good fucking luck doing
that. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus, man. I was playing it with Divines earlier today, and I was trying to get a lifestealer to swap away from playing against an Ursa.
Yeah,
and he just wouldn't. And I'm just like, do you enjoy getting fucked in the ass? I mean, it's 2019. Go for it, man. But there's gonna be some serious penetration happening down there.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to be against an Ursa as lifestealer? And I was like, yeah. And then he just feeds, and it's like, well, who the fuck could have predicted that? You know?
That's my hardest thing is like when people actively play into difficult situations when there's a very clear, obvious, easy solution to not play into that situation. And it's like, come on, man. Just open your eyes. Just look at the game. It's right there.
And when somebody's telling you, like, hey, man, I can swap. I actually wanted to be against the Ursa. I was Slardar, so I knew I could out trade an Ursa. I wanted to be a guy. I was Slardar Lina. Ugh. It was so difficult.
It's like, no, I carry. I get minus.
I carry. I go safe lane. Like, dude, you're not gonna have fun. I don't know why you're just asking to not have fun in this game.
Yeah, it's weird.
Who are your S and A tier position 4s? So this was
let me open up the old Dota. Position 4 S tier.
Lina's very good.
Yeah, Lina's definitely good.
Zeus is underrated. Mirana is good.
Mirana's probably the best.
Dazzle's extremely good against Undying, and everybody's picking Undying. It's a classic counter.
Are people still picking Lesh for? Or is he mostly just a mid?
It's like a mid, yeah.
Yeah. I think Dark Willow is underrated as a 4 a little bit.
And as a 5, I think.
Yeah.
I think that hero's good.
People are still playing Rubik a ton just because it's Rubik.
Yeah, Rubik is still good. Rubik is still good for sure. He's so good in the late game, honestly.
Yeah. But those are probably the best 4s.
Lina's picked in like every single goddamn game. It's like Lina or Mirana. Those are the two.
Yeah.
Let me see if there's anything. Yeah, Lina, Mirana, and Rubik are the 3 most picked heroes in high-level pubs. Damn, Earthshaker's actually getting picked up a lot. What? I did
It's
not.
kind of surprising. I feel like people are playing that mid and offlane a lot these days. At least that's what I've been seeing.
Attacker, Bamba, Resolution, Forev,
Yeah, those are
Gunner,
all offlane mid.
No One, Coupe, Faith Beyond. Damn, maybe I gotta start spamming Earthshaker. I think the hero's good, man. My team flamed me for picking this offlane.
I picked CK4 today and got 5 kills in the first 15 minutes of the game, and my carry quit at 1 minute into the game because he's actually before the game even started. He's like, I first picked CK support, and then it loaded it into the game and showed my record as CK, which is like a 75 or 80% win rate with CK, almost all the support. And my carry just immediately quit and refused to play the game.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was
I
fun.
love playing with total assholes. It's really great. All right, we're out of questions. Do you want to take a speed round from the old chat?
We'll take a speed round, but it'll be a chill speed round because we're all drinking tea, right? Everybody's been drinking some tea, so we're nice and relaxed, but we're also energized because that's how it goes. That's what tea does for you. It's not Red Bull, it's not coffee.
Can I get a tea count? Can I get a 1 in chat if you're drinking tea as well?
Yeah.
Well, put a tea in chat.
Yeah,
Capital
nice big tea.
I'll put 2 of them in here for us. TT. There we go. No, Donnie, we're not drinking 3 teas. Now I need to have another tea, which actually is great because I would like to have some more tea. I wish I had brewed up a pot.
Does Long Island count? I mean, hey man, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? Yeah, so why not?
It's 5 o'clock for me. Maybe I should be drinking Long Islands. What do we think of 4 Invoker? Fantastic. Is Butterfly ever good on Ember? I don't really think so.
I can't really think of a reason it would be.
I don't know. I don't think you should be taking that many right clicks.
Or doing that many right clicks without just sliding and that kind of stuff.
Probably want like a Shiva's instead.
Yeah.
What kind of tea am I drinking, Elliot? I'm drinking Earl Grey, just classic Earl Grey. Twinings brand. It's actually my favorite brand of tea.
I'm drinking Vata tea, which is an Ayurvedic balancing tea for the Vata dosha, which is for winter time, basically.
Good 9th picks for mid divine. Any chance you can make a video for counters in the mid lane? Pick Lina. Lina is not counterable. Tiny's another good one.
OD.
OD's another good
one.
one.
Pugna, pick OD.
Kunka's pretty nice too. There's always a way. Ember, there's always a way to play Ember. You just need to know the ways to play these heroes against counters, because there really aren't counters.
Yep. Why does TA seem so strong in Herald Guardian lobbies? Probably because nobody punishes her at all, and she has a pseudo invincibility spell in Refraction.
Can you make another video on 5 settings every player should have? Do I have 5 more settings that I think every player should have?
Yeah, I don't know.
I have to look at that video and see.
Maybe you should do like 5 hotkeys. Everybody should have bound or something like that.
I'm actually bad. I'm pretty bad with hotkeys. I don't have quick buy bound. I don't have purchase sticky or take stash items. I don't use those hotkeys.
Yeah, I don't either really.
I just click, which is pretty bad, honestly. I need to start using those. I don't have directional move bound.
How can I scale into late game as Skywrath Mage? I dominate early but always lose late.
I mean, I don't know. That really shouldn't be that much of a problem for you unless you're like falling off and feeding. You want to combo with somebody. You always want to play with somebody who can like set up for you.
Yeah, you need to crush the lanes and then you need to start playing behind your team, I think, because that's what I've seen a lot from like bad Skywrath mages is that they're just like ha 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 in lane, just throwing arcane bolts just over and over and over. There's nothing anybody can do about them because they have more movement speed. But once people get boosts, once people get items, they continue to do that and they have 0 armor and just get completely destroyed. So once you've won the laning stage, then you just need to start playing around your team and just providing them with damage, and then
you're a team player. You don't do anything alone.
Yeah, pick up maybe like a Blink and a Hex, Atos, Kaya, that kind of stuff as the game progresses.
Yep. I recalibrated to Herald 5 new patch, and all my friends are around Ancient. In those games, I usually do well, but I feel there's a bottleneck because of my skill. Should I play with them or solo? You can play with them. It's just that I think your friends are probably going to need to tell you a lot of the time what to do, or you're going to need to like ask questions, which is fine because you'll rank up, you'll become higher skill very quickly from that. But I would definitely, what I would do is I would like, if you're into this, I would take those games and try to learn a lot from them, and then apply that to solo queue, get better, rank up, and then go into those games and kind of use that as like a way to get better.
Yeah, totally.
Use that as like a platform.
And the
And the
last
last
update.
update.
Oh, good.
Oh, motherfucker, Donnie! Don't interrupt me. That was really rude of you. This experimental matchmaking system, so we have solo and party again. I certainly hope we get party back. I was enjoying that a lot, and I would like to keep enjoying that.
I think he means he hopes that they get solo MMR and party MMR back.
Oh no, I don't. I like how it is.
Me too.
I really enjoyed the changes. I think the changes have been for the better. And people are all complaining about the current changes. Oh, woe is me! Valve fucked everything up. I mean, I'm a high immortal player. I can't get games, and I don't care. I understand this is part of the process. Like I feel like it's just
whiny bitches.
Beggars being choosers a lot of the time. Yeah, it's not that. I mean, boohoo, we can't queue for a weekend. I'm sure Valve will fix it.
Yeah, look at Fortnite. They took their game away for a weekend.
Yeah, that was interesting.
How do you counter Morph plus Earthshaker and Ags combo?
You fucking lose.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
You kill them early. That's it.
Bloodseeker is kind of okay as like with Rupture, but you just get fucked by Morphling. So it's hard. I lost to that the other day, actually. It was not fun.
It's not a fun combo to deal with, to be honest. If you're Morphling and if they're a combo, if they're like a duo queue,
yeah,
there's no fucking way. You just lose.
Yeah.
Ability build for offlane Abaddon. Max W and E. Maybe 1 point in Q for suicide. That's it. Very simple.
Yep.
W first. Max W first.
Is position 4 Kunkka plausible, and what's the best way to play it?
Not really.
I feel like it's plausible, but you could always just play him in a better spot, also known as 3 or 2.
Yeah. Kunkka is a mid, and then when they counter it, you flex it to offlane, and I don't see why you'd ever have to run it as 4.
Yeah.
It just doesn't really roam well at all.
Yep.
All right.
That
seems to be it. Questions have slowed down.
Yep. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in for Tea and Alchemy Answers here. Episode 50. Any last words for chat, Jenkins? Any last words for our patrons?
I love you.
Sounds good. I love you too.